In this video, G500 review is the door handle button, the headlight washer nozzles, the sun visors, and the spare wheel cover. That's a comprehensive list of the parts that have been carried over from the old G-Class. Apparently, there's a bracket underneath that also has the same part number as before, but even the engineers can't remember quite where it is. Everything else, is new. About time, really. The old G had been around since the dawn of the motor carriage, 1979, an old soldier still refusing to desert its post. That post is off-roadability. Surely Mercedes must have been tempted to take the new one in a more urban direction, since that's the landscape the G seems most able to conquer? Not at all. Says Gunnar Guthanke, the G-Class's boss, above all it had to be authentic, so there were three elements we absolutely had to keep: the super tough ladder chassis, the three locking differentials and the low-range gearbox. Reassured? Off-road is still the focus, because authenticity comes from ability. But Guthanke also knew things had to change. Again, we identified three key areas: to drastically improve interior comfort, to drastically improve ride comfort, and to further improve off-road behavior. The outcome is unusual: a full-length ladder frame chassis that incorporates independent front suspension with tightly packaged double wishbones, surmounted between the uprights by a chunky brace. The body is 55% stiffer, all the components tucked within the ladder frame for protection. The chassis itself is actually heavier than before, but overall, the G is 170 kilograms lighter. It'll wade water 100 millimeters deeper than before, now 700 millimeters, can lean over to 35 degrees and climb and descend 45-degree slopes. There's no height-adjustable chassis because Mercedes doesn't believe the suspension airbags are durable enough in extreme conditions. Amazingly, it's the silly AMG one that accounts for nearly two-thirds of global sales. Not the diesel, but the twin-turbo V8. It's the 4.0-liter from the AMG GT-R, with 577 brake horsepower and 626 pounds-foot in left-hand drive markets. There's also a G500 using a detuned 416 brake horsepower per 450 pounds FT version of the same engine. The G-Class is a stalwart of the Mercedes range. That's why it still looks the same. But don't be deceived, underneath it's been transformed. The leaps forward in road manners, cabin design, and quality take the G-Class from being an aging anachronism to a car that can be considered alongside top-end Range Rovers. It might be moderately less hushed and smooth, but if you really, truly want massive off-road capability, the G won't let you down. Its positioning is interesting, demonstrating the value Mercedes still places on having a halo car that can go exploring. As such, it asks interesting questions of what Land Rover is going to do with the new Defender. Guthanke likens the G to a crocodile for the way it's not changed much because it's already so well adapted to its environment. But really, it's more of a rhino. Tough as teak, yet surprisingly athletic. Give Mercedes-Benz credit for orchestrating the G-Class SUV's transition from one-time military transporter to revered luxury icon. The 2025 G500 shares a silhouette and all-terrain competence with the Spartan 1979 original, but its six-figure price tag, highly customizable nature, and plethora of luxury gear push it close to the ultra-luxe realm occupied by vehicles such as the Bentley Bentayga and the Mercedes-Maybach GLS 600. The G's impressive off-road capability comes with a compromise to its on-road handling, however. The G500 isn't exactly crude when being used to commute or road trip, but you can never quite forget its truckish nature. A turbocharged 3.0-liter inline-six makes 443 horsepower and is mated to a 9-speed automatic and standard all-wheel drive. More serious off-roaders can add all sorts of journey-enhancing equipment. The G Professional model, for example, features meaty tires, an adaptive suspension system, and fancy but rugged trim and upholstery. Even so, many buyers will choose a G-Class for its unique style and the status-heightening effect that such ownership brings. For an even more audacious G, check out the performance-focused Mercedes-AMG G63, which we review separately. What's new for 2025? The G-Class is getting more aerodynamic for 2025. No, it isn't morphing into a curvy crossover a la the EQS SUV, but subtle styling revisions are intended to help the G550 cut through the air a little easier. They'll be shared with a yet-to-be-released electric version of the G. The grille, front bumper, and A-pillars have all been reshaped, and a little spoiler on the roof's leading edge helps direct air up and over the SUV. The biggest change is under the hood, where the 2024 model's V8 engine has been swapped out in favor of a turbocharged 3.0-liter inline-six with a 48-volt hybrid system. Horsepower is up to 443 ponies, but torque is down slightly. Acceleration performance should be similar though. Inside, the MBUX infotainment interface takes up residency on the G550's dashboard. The updated software provides more connectivity, including an optional rear seat entertainment system with two 11.6-inch displays that can stream video or browse the web. Elsewhere, a new 360-degree camera system can show the driver what's underneath the G-Class. More personalization options have been added to the manufacturer program, and an adaptive cruise control system with a lane centering feature is now available. The price of the 2025 Mercedes-Benz G-Class is expected to start around $150,000 and go up to $175,000 depending on the trim and options, with a starting price of around $150,000. It's a good bet that most buyers won't be too concerned about ponying up for a few options. Still, the sheer number and cost of those extras is dizzying. Our feeling is that buyers are best served by enhancing a G550 with thoughtful choices like the exclusive trim, which adds the nicer Napa leather upholstery and snazzier trim pieces. The seat comfort package includes massaging front seats with ventilated cushions, and we'd add the heated steering wheel, too. The only other option we recommend is the available adaptive dampers that allow the driver to dial in the ride quality. All G550s now come with a turbocharged 3.0-liter inline-six with 443 horsepower and 413 lb-ft of torque. A 48-volt hybrid system helps out, but doesn't provide any electric-only driving range. The powertrain sends its torque to the wheels via a 9-speed automatic transmission. All-wheel drive is standard, as are the famed triple differential locks, front, center, and rear, and low range. The 2019 G550 that we tested had much improved road manners compared with the outgoing generation, thanks to independent front suspension and a lower center of gravity. Whereas the previous model leaned into corners with comical abandon, the newer model at least tries to pivot without scraping the door handles on the pavement. The new generation G5